Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So, do you have any questions from the previous discussions? Maybe we should give like 10 minutes or 15 minutes for the questions. Otherwise, we will have no time for the discussion like in previous one. So are there any questions?
So Pandit, may I have a question?
Yes.
So like before I ask Pandit Abranyana, so the same question. Generally in the Mata Chandas, we have 5 groups, right?
Yes.
But sometimes there is a Ragana and the Yagana as well. But in the Ragana and the Yagana, how can we count as 4 moras?
We don't count 4 moras in Ragana and Yagana because when we tell that we use 5 groups or 5 ganas in Mata Chandas, we refer to the Bha, Ja, Sa and Mana, those 5 groups only. So Ragana and Yagana are exceptions actually.
Oh, so that means like a Ragana and a Yagana, we can count as 4, like 5 moras.
Yes, yes, they have 5 moras.
Okay, thank you, Pandit.
Okay. Any other questions? No questions, right? Okay, then let's go to the today's verse. We have to discuss this one, Pare Padadi Sanyoge. But before that, I will go to the previous verse because I missed something to explain. Here, we actually already learned this. Sangyogadicha, Dighocha, Niggahita Parocha Yo, Garu, Vanko, Padanto Va, Rassonyo, Mattiko, Luju. So this is the word, this is the verse that shows heavy and light syllables. So we learned that there are 4 types of heavy syllables and 1 type of light syllables. 4 types are Sangyogadi, this is the first one, Digho, second one, Niggahita Paro, third one, and Padanto is the 4th one. These 4 types, these 4 syllables are called as Garu. So what I missed was that Vanko, this word Vanko, actually I told this once, but I did not show the place where this is mentioned in Vuttodaya. Vanko means curved. So Vanko means curved, but meaning is that Garu, this Garu syllable is shown in a curved line like this, like shown here. We use curved line to denote Garu syllables. Okay, so that is shown in this word Vanko. And here in the other line, Rassonyo, Mattiko, Luju. Here, Rasso, Anyo, other syllable is called as other syllable, Anyo, other syllable, Mattiko, which has 1 matta or 1 mora, Mattika mean which has 1 mora or matra. So other syllable which has 1 matra is called as Rasso. Sorry. Other syllable which has 1 matra and which is short is called as Luju. Here it is La and Uju. This combination should be separated as La Uju. Okay, La Uju. So La stands for Lahu. So what we what is meant here is that this syllable, short syllable, should be called as Lahu, and that Lahu syllable, short syllable, is presented in a Uju. Uju means straight. So it is presented in a straight line like shown above. Okay, so this is the place where this point is shown in Vuttodaya. Vanko, curved line, is stands for Garu. Uju, straight line, stands for Lahu. Okay, so then let's go to the today's lesson. Syllables not making position. Can someone from you recite this gatha? Because then you can actively participate to the discussion. Is there any volunteer?
So Pandey, I will try
Yes.
it.
Okay, okay.
Kari batati sayoge yo bubo karuka karo nahusa kwaji vinyo tatu taharanam yatha.
Okay, very good. Pare padadi sangyoge yo pubbo garukakkaro lahusa kochi vinyayo tadudaharanang yatha. So there is a little problem. Maybe some others will face this in this book which we are using now. The line break is not shown. You see, here there is a comma, but in this line, in these two lines, there is not a comma. So there will be a confusion like where to break the line. So actually here this curved and straight lines, you can see two straight lines here. That is the place to break the line, but then you should pay attention to these also. So it will be lead to more confusion. So however, you can refer to the PDF Vuttodaya text I have shared. So there I have shown with commas and all where to break the lines. So what this verse presents is that pare padadi sangyoge padadi sangyoge pare. When padadi sangyoge should be separated as pada adi sangyoga. Sangyoga stands for conjunct. Okay, conjunct, two consonants joined together, conjunct. So sangyoga is conjunct. Padadi sangyoga, a conjunct which is located in the beginning of a line. Like we know these are lines. There are 4 lines in a verse. So if in the beginning of a line there is a conjunct, padadi sangyoge, pare, followed by a conjunct. So if followed by a conjunct which is at the beginning of a line, yo pubbo garukakkaro, pubbo garukakkaro, heavy syllable is there in the front of that conjunct. Lahusa kochi vinyayo, sa, that syllable in the front, kochi, sometimes vinyayo should be known as lahu, light. Sometimes it should be known as light. Tadudaharanam yatha. An example will be shown in the next verse. So the rough meaning is that syllable which is heavy, because it comes before a conjunct at the beginning of a line, should sometimes be known as light, as in this example. So we will go to the example verse, then this will be clear for you, otherwise you will be confused. So this is the example verse. It is kind of a different verse. So is there any volunteer to recite this verse? Okay, then I will recite. Dassana rasanu bhavane nibaddha gedha jinassa yang janata vimhaya janani sanyata kriyanu nanu ranjayati. Dassana rasanu bhavane nibaddha gedha jinassa yang janata vimhaya janani sanyata kriyanu nanu ranjayati. So this is one of Arya verses which we will be studying later. The name of this verse is Arya. So the rough meaning is that through experiencing the pleasure of seeing the victor, through experiencing the pleasure of seeing the victor, this generation has a strong longing. His self-control causes wonder. Whom would he not delight? So this verse refers to Lord Buddha. Here, victor refers to Lord Buddha. So I will give a short explanation. Dassana, rasa, rasanubhavane. This combination should be separated as dassana, rasa, anubhavane. Dassana is seen or looking, watching. Rasa, taste. Anubhavana, eating. Actually, here not eating. Here it is enjoying or experiencing. So experiencing the taste or the pleasure of watching at whom. Nibaddhagedha jinassa yang. This should be separated as jinassa ayang. Jinassa of the victor or of the Lord Buddha. Lord Buddha is mentioned here as victor. Victor. Jina, this Pāli word jina is translated as victor. So, of the victor, the dassana rasa, the experiencing dassana rasanubhavani, experiencing the pleasure of seeing the victor. Okay, experiencing, looking at the Lord Buddha, enjoying the sight of Lord Buddha. Nibaddha gedha ayang janata, this generation, or in other words, these people are nibaddha gedha. Gedha is another word for lobha. So gedha meaning is given here as longing or desire. Nibaddha gedha. Nibaddha means continuing or continuous desire. Here translated as strong longing. So these people have strong longing or strong desire to see Lord Buddha. Okay. Then third line, vimhaya janani, two words. Vimhaya means excitement or wonder or amaze. Janani, root jana. Janani means something which causes another thing. So here vimhaya janani means something which causes wonder, something which causes excitement, or something which causes amaze, feeling of amaze. What is that? What is vimhaya janani? Sanyata kriya. Sanyata means controlled. Kriya means action, controlled action. So here it is translated as self-control. Vimhaya janani is the modifier for sanyata kriya. So it is translated as his self-control causes wonder. Self-control which causes wonder or which causes excitement. Nu kang nanu ranjat. Nu is a question marker. Kang, whom here translated as whom. Nanu ranjati should be separated as na anuranjati. Rough meaning is that na anuranjati, not delight. So nu kang na anuranjati, whom would he not delight? In other books, actually this is translated as whom would his. This is the subject actually according to the Burmese books. Sanyata kriya is the subject. So whom would his controlled actions would not delight. According to this translation, the subject of this anuranjati, verb na anuranjati. Subject of na anuranjati is Lord Buddha, but according to other translations, subject is directly seen here, Sanyata Kriya, controlled actions of Lord Buddha. Whom would controlled action of Lord Buddha not delight? Okay, that is the meaning. So don't ask for the grammatical formations of these words, because it will take a long time to explain with my poor vocabulary. However, what we want to pay attention here is that this is the example for the point presented in the previous verse. So in the previous verse, we learned that there is a place sometimes a heavy syllable is considered as a light syllable. Topic is given as syllables not making position. I have no idea why this topic is given. However, the overall meaning of this verse is that there are, in some places, there are heavy syllables which should be considered as light syllables. Okay, because in the previous verse we learned that there are 4 types of heavy syllables and 1 type of light syllables. So among those 4 types, we learned that if a light syllable, if a short vowel or a long vowel is followed by a conjunct, we consider that vowel in the front as the heavy one. Can you remember that? We called it Sangyogadi. Sangyogadi. Here. Sangyogadi. Sangyogadi mean the syllable which is in the beginning, at the beginning of conjunct. Syllable at the beginning of conjunct is considered as a heavy syllable, but what is described in this verse is that sometimes it is not considered as that. What is that place? That place is syllable which is heavy. Because it is heavy, because considered as heavy, because it comes before a conjunct, that means there is a Sangyogadi Garu. Okay, this is the Sangyogadi Garu. A heavy syllable is there that is named as heavy or considered as heavy because it comes before a conjunct, and that is placed at the beginning of a line, at the beginning of a conjunct is at the beginning of a line. Then the previous syllable which was considered as heavy should be sometimes known as light. So this, in this example, Dassana Rasanubhavane, this is the first line, Dassana Rasanubhavane. Nibaddha Gedha Jinasthayan Janata, this is the second line. So here there is not a conjunct, so we don't want to analyze it. Then the third line is Vimhaya Janani Sanyata. Here the third line ends. Okay, according to the rules of Arya Gatha, Arya verse, the line ends in Sanyata. Vimhaya Janani Sanyata. Here line ends. Then the fourth line is Kriyanu Kang Nanu Ranjati. You see here at the beginning of the fourth line there is a conjunct. K and R. Ka and Ra is joined. So there is a conjunct. So according to the rule we learned previously, according to the rule we called as Sangyogadi, this previous syllable should be considered as a heavy syllable. Okay, this should be considered as a heavy syllable because it is followed by a conjunct. But in Arya verses, according to the rules of Arya verses, this syllable should be a short one. This syllable should be a light one. Otherwise, this is not a Arya verse. So the rule is that this ending syllable of the third line should be a short one. So here, if we consider this as a long one or a heavy one, then this is not a Arya verse. Because of that, we consider in such places, we consider this heavy syllable as a light syllable. Okay, that is the meaning of the previous verse. That syllable which is heavy, a syllable has become heavy because it comes before a conjunct at the beginning of a line. Okay, then that should sometimes be known as light, not always, only sometimes. Sometimes that should be known as light, as in this example. So do you have any questions regarding these two verses?
Oh, so Bande.
Yes.
So here, sanyata, because it's followed by the conjunct consonants, can we make
Yes.
as the sanyata as a sanyata? And we consider as ri is a short vowel.
We consider sanyata, we consider this as sanyata as a long one, okay?
Yeah.
Then we consider this ni as short. Is that your point?
Yes.
That cannot be done according to the rules of Aryagatha. You
Because
will
you see,
understand this point. Yes, yes.
And because the sanyata
Yes,
is the sanyata is the third one, right? Is we call the third, not a third
line,
pada, but it's the third one. Yes, third line at the end.
Okay.
So, but because we learned if the vowel, short vowel at the end of the line, it considered as a heavy syllable, as a noun.
Okay.
So, how about this one?
No, actually, this is a samasa. This is a compound. Sanyata kriya. This is one word. Okay. Vimha janani is the modifier. Sanyata kriya is a compound. It is a one. It is a one. It is a just one noun. Compound noun. So within that compound noun, we have separated that compound into two parts, because this first part belongs to the third line and the second part belongs to the fourth line. Then what happens is, this is still short or light. We can make this long like sanyata, then this is no more a compound. Okay, sanyata kriya. Then sanyata is also a modifier for kriya. We can do that also, but we can do that, but not in Arya verses. Because in Arya verse, according to the rules of Arya verses, this last letter, not actually always, but in this verse, this last letter should be light. Otherwise, the rules would be broken.
Okay.
I will explain it again in the when we study Arya verses. Okay, then it will be clear for you. Actually, you have already studied Arya verses, but is that clear for you? Should I explain more?
Hi, Bante.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Dr. Ryan.
So in fact, my question is also the same, but I think maybe I just elaborate a little bit more, because so we
Okay.
know that there are 4 types of heavy syllables, right?
Yes.
So and one of them is I mean at the beginning of the conjunct consonant. So here
Yes.
the problem is that we have a conjunct consonant ka and ra. So in this case, it looks like we don't attribute the ka into the vowel a in the front. I think that's what it means. But and then so it's just like the question of the Syllabic. Then here we don't do that. So that means the third line here ends with a short consonant. then according to the 4 kinds of heavy, then should we consider that as long as well? So why is it short in this case?
This last syllable of the third line,
Yes, Bhante. So it's the last syllable, the vowel there. It's a short vowel, and we know that is one of the 4 heavy cases, right?
Yes,
so we should consider
because
heavy.
followed by a conjunct.
No, Bhante. So originally we should connect it to the conjunct, and then it becomes heavy.
Yes,
but then here it looks like we are not going to connect it with the conjunct. But then still, because it's the end of the lines, it's a short vowel. So
Okay,
it's also
okay,
one of the cases of the heavy.
Okay, I understand. So that is the Pādantagaru, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, Pādantagaru. But we learned in the same verse that Pādantagaru is also not in everywhere. Can you remember? Pādantagaru is here. Sangyogadi Digho Nigahita Paro Garu. Padanto Va. This Va stands for exceptions. Okay, so this Padanta Garu is not should not be taken everywhere. In some cases, Padanta Garu is not taken or not seen. That's why this Va is put here. Okay, like in like for an example in Va Paro Asarupa, in the sutra Va Paro Asarupa, Va is put there for to show exceptions. We should not always do that. Sometimes the following vowel is deleted or elided. So Va stands for exceptions. Here also Va stands for exceptions. Sorry, Syali, I did not get your point. So so you should keep in mind that Padanta Garu is not, it should not be taken everywhere. In some cases, in some verses, we should take the ending syllable of a line as light.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Bandi, like you said, they originally this word is connected with each other, like a Sanyata Kiriya, right? It is one word.
Yes.
But here we break it because of the rules. So actually, this is it's very complicated.
What is complicated? Which place is complicated?
Because
why
it's
we
like
break?
Yeah, the many rules we have to follow.
Yes, there are so many rules we have to follow. Okay, we will study them further in the Arya verses. Why should we separate here? We will learn them further. Not actually confusing, but because we haven't still studied well, that's why. Okay.
Yes, Pandya. Actually, I have another question in the Pāḷi Patadi Sanyogi here. Adi, the word Adi, sometimes we translate as etc. And here we translate at the beginning. So my question is, how can we know is at the beginning or either etc. something like that?
We give the meaning etc. in Bahubbihi Samasa. Because now again grammar class. Again grammar class. Like here, for example, Buddhotyadi or Buddhadi. Let's say Buddhadi. Buddhadi. So here, 2 words, Buddha and Adi. So meaning is Buddha is Lord Buddha. Adi means beginning. Okay. Adi always actually meaning of the Adi is beginning. There are some other meanings also, but like cases like this, meaning of Adi is beginning. So Lord Buddha beginning. Okay. But when this is joined as a Bahubbihi Samasa, then meaning is things which has Lord Buddha in the beginning. Okay. Now, as a Bahubbihi Samas, this means before joining, here there is Lord Buddha. Here meaning is beginning. So whole meaning is Lord Buddha beginning or beginning Lord Buddha. But when we join this as Bahubbihi Samasa, this means things like this. Buddho, Buddho, Adi, Yesang, Te. Can you remember that? Buddhadi. Okay. So this is the definition for Bahubbihi Samasa. Yesang, for whom Lord Buddha is at the beginning, they are called as Buddhadi. So here the meaning should be given as the things which have Lord Buddha at the beginning. So in other words, we can translate it as Lord Buddha, etc. That is the simple and short translation. So in other places, which is actually in Bahubbihi Samasa also, when we translate well, you should give that meaning, beginning, meaning with the word beginning. Is that clear? No? Not clear?
Yes, Pandya. So, like in Burmese, how can we translate it? We translate Asashido or
Yes. Asa is beginning. Yes, you're right. Asashido, which has in the beginning.
But how about when the Burmese refers etc.? How do they say?
Etc. in Burmese.
Yeah, in the Adi translation.
There is something like this. Sadi di. I cannot type Burmese. There is a word like Sadi di. Sa salong and ta nyate sadi, then di, Sadi di. That stands for etc.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Pandya.
Okay.
Hi, Bhante.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I just have a follow-up question on this question. So
Okay.
based on your explanation, then when we say something and so on, we translate the word sadi as so on. So that is basically just the derived way of translation, right? Because the word
Yes.
adi, it only has the meaning of the beginning.
Beginning. Yes.
I see.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Okay. Okay, so then let's go to the next verse. We are going to finish this introductory chapter today. Conventional numbers, lines, and the word break. We are going to learn about 3 points. Conventional numbers. What are conventional numbers? What is a line? And what is a word break? Can someone read? Is there any volunteer? Vinyaya.
Okay, Bhante, I will read.
Okay.
Vinyaya losnya samuddo surasadinam paduniyo chatuttamso padaccedo yati.
Okay, very good. So Vinyaya lokato sanya samuddosu rasadina. It should be separated as samuddo usu, samuddosu, then rasadina. Pādo Nyeyo Chatuttanso Padachedo Yati Bhave. Yati Bhave is also correct as Venerable Atulanyana recited, but here it is mentioned as Yati Bhave. Both are correct. So meaning is that Vinyaya Lokato Sanya. Let's go to the rough meaning and come back. The conventional signs that are used in the world should be known. That is one point. There are some conventional signs, they should be known. For examples, the 4 oceans, the 5 arrows, and 6 tastes. They are the conventional signs. We will talk about them later. Then the second point is a pada or a line should be known as 1/4 part of a verse. We already know this. A line should be known as 1/4 part of a verse. Third point is that the word break should be known as yati. Word break. We use the term yati for word breaks. We will talk about word breaks. So in the Gatha, Vinyaya should be known. What should be known? Lokato Sanya. Lokato from the world. Loka means world. From the world. Sanya means names or signs. You should or signs from the world. Names from the world should be known. What are those names? Samuddosu Rasadinam. Samudda. This is one name. Samudda. Then Usu. This is Usu in Pali, but I think it is Isu in Sanskrit because in this book, Bhante Anand Jyoti has given as Isu. So it should be separated according to Pali as Usu. Samuddo Usu, but according to this book, according to this Bhante's book, it should be separated as Samuddo Isu. Two words, Samuddo and Isu. Then Rasa is another name, Adinang, etc. or so on. So you should know the names, signs like Samudda, Usu, and Rasa. What are these signs? These signs are conventional numbers. That means we use some signs in this prosody instead of or behalf of numbers. For example, here Samudda. Samudda means ocean, isn't it? Samudda means ocean. So according to our texts, according to our Buddhist texts and Hindu or Sanskrit texts, there are 4 oceans: Northern Ocean, Southern Ocean, Eastern Ocean, and Western Ocean. There are 4 oceans. So when someone mention you ocean, you should know the number 4, because the word ocean is used behalf of number 4. Behalf of using the word chatu or chattaro, this prosody will be using the word samudda. Okay, samudda. So when so that because of that, it is named as as conventional numbers, because everyone in the world at that time, of course, not this time, at the time this prosody is written, everyone that was a common knowledge that there are 4 oceans in the world. So when you mention ocean, you should know that he or she is talking about the number 4. So these are also known as Bhuta Sankhya. Our professor also has explained about this. Bhuta Sankhya or Bhuta Sanya, according to other places. Bhuta Sankhya. That is also another name for these conventional numbers. Bhuta Sankhya. So the next word is Isu or Usu. Isu or Usu is the Pali word for arrow. So there it is mentioned that there are 5 types of arrows. I cannot remember actually how it is described in Sanskrit in Hindu books. The 5 types of arrows are mentioned. So when someone mentions arrow, you should know the number 5. Okay, arrow stands for 5. Then actually in our text, in our tradition also, as I remember, for the 5 nivaranas or something like that, we use the word, we use this this sign arrow. So according to our tradition also, we can describe this, but I think it is not good because these are taken from the Sanskrit books. So in Hindu or in Sanskrit literature, 5 types of arrows are mentioned. So because of that, when someone mentioned isu or usu, you should know he or she is talking about the number 5 in the relevant places, not everywhere, in prosody and so on. And then rasa, word is rasa. So rasa is the rasa means taste. There are 6 types of tastes. It's like sweetness, bitterness, and so on. There are 6 types of tastes in literature. So then, so because of that, the word rasa stands for number 6. So these are called as conventional numbers. So here and there, these conventional numbers will be used. So here, the words used as bhuta sankhya or conventional numbers, words used as bhuta sankhya and Vuttodaya may be listed here. Here are some examples. Veda, when Vuttodaya mentions as Veda, we should know that it is talking about the number 4 because there are 4 Vedas, Chatur Veda, 4 Vedas like Iru Veda, Yaju Veda, Sama Veda, and Athabbana Veda in Pāļi. I don't know Sanskrit names like Rig Veda and so on. There are Sanskrit names. So there are 4 Vedas. Therefore, the word Veda stands for number 4. And Yuga, this meaning of Yuga is ages. So there are 4 ages according to ancient books like Kali Yuga and so on. So there are 4 ages. Therefore, Yuga also stands for number 4. Then Annava. Annava is a synonym for Samudra. It stands for ocean. So because there are 4 oceans, Annava also stands for number 4. Then Ambudhi also is a synonym for Samudra or ocean. Sindhu is also a synonym for Samudra. So there are 4 oceans. Jaladhi is also a synonym for Samudra. Then Akka is meaning of Akka is dice. So as mentioned in literature, there are 5 faces in a dice. But actually in the dices we have seen in Sri Lanka, we have 6 faces. So I have no idea what kind of a dice is this. Only 5 faces are there. So because of that, when Vuttodaya mentions Akka, we should know that it is talking about the number 5. Then Rasa, we already learned. Utu stands for seasons. So there are 6 seasons in our according to our literature. Because of that, the word Utu stands for 6. Assa, there are 7 types of horses according to literature. I have no idea about that. Then Isi is a synonym for Tapasa. So it stands, so English meaning is sages or seers or sages. So there are 7 types of sages according to literature. Then Sara, meaning of Sara is lakes. There are 7 lakes in literature. I think you have heard Anavatapta, Karnamunda, and so on. There are 7 lakes in the Himalaya mountain. Because of that, the word Sara stands for number 7. Higher is another word for Assa, horses. So it also stands for 7. Muni is another synonym for Isi or sages. So it also stands for 7. Vasu is meaning of Vasu is gods. So there are 8 gods in literature. But in Myanmar books and in commentaries, as I know, this Vasu is given meaning as gems. So there are 8 kind of gems. Actually, in the literature, only 7 kind of gems are found, and we add the Lord Buddha to it, because Lord Buddha is also a gem according to Ratana Sutra. Then 8 kinds of gems are there. So that is according to our tradition, but explained by recent teachers. So bhogi, meaning of bhogi is snakes. There are 8 types of snakes according to literature. Gaha, meaning is planets. There are 9 planets. In science also there are 9 planets. In our ancient literature also there are 9 planets, including sun and moon. And then Hara stand for gods. There are 11 gods. In Burmese books, this was explained as Hara stand for the god named as Vishnu. Maybe you have heard about Vishnu. So Vishnu has 11 images, so 11 figures. So because of that, Hara stand for the number 11. And then Akka, meaning of Akka is sun. So there are two, here it is given, the sun whose zodiacal signs are 12. So because of that, Akka stands for. So this is kind of confusing, but don't worry. You don't have to memorize this all, or you don't have to remember this all, because we are going to study with the translation and explanation. So you don't have to memorize these things. Okay, then that is the meaning of this first half of this verse. Viññaya lokato sanya samuddosu rasadina. Conventional numbers. Then third line, Pādo ñeyo chatuttanso. What is called as a pada? In prosody, what is a pada? Pada should be known as chatuttanso, fourth part of a verse. So in this verse, there are 4 parts. So one part of these 4 is called as a pada, or a line. Then that is about lines. What is a line? Padachedo yati bhave. Padachedo, pada word, cheda breaking. Padachedo word break is called as yati. Yati bhave, it is yati. So it is called as yati. So the Pāli term yati stands for a word break. Word break, to explain it a little bit further, word break is something like this. When you recite this gatha, you have to break, you have to stop at the end of the every line. You see, viññaya lokato sanya samuddosu rasadinang padoñayo chatuttanso padachedo yati bhave. So in at the end of every line you stop, because that is a place to stop. You should not recite without stopping. You have to stop here, and especially you have to stop after the second line. After one half, you have to especially stop before going to the third line. So these are called as places where yati is there. So in every verse, after every line there is yati or padacheda. After the second line there is special yati, special padacheda is there. Actually they are not shown in Vuttodaya, but they are shown in Subodha Alankara, in Alankara, or in yeah, once Bhante, Venerable Atulanyana asked about Alankara, so I searched about it. Actually, it is given the English word in literature as rhetoric. Rhetoric is for Alankara, and in another place I saw something like ornamentation, because we make a verse beautiful, make a verse look good with the help of Alankara. So Alankara are called as ornamentation. Also in Alankara, this yati is further explained. So we will talk about this yati in the next chapters. So are there any questions?
Yes, hi Bante.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I have a question
okay,
about
Dr. Ran,
the
go ahead.
yes, thanks, Yale. So could you please go back to the previous stanza, Bante?
Okay, this one.
Yeah,
Vinyaya.
yes, that one. Yeah. So I have a question about the Yati Bawe. Yati Bawe. So
Yes.
you said that is the breaking of the line. So we have to stop at the end of the line. But what about the case that we talked about earlier, Bante? What about if the consonant is at the beginning of the conjunct consonant and it's also at the end of the line? So how are we going to do that, Bante? Like in the example we have earlier. So it's part of
Yes.
the samasa. So how should we stop? Should we just stop right in the middle of
No,
the
no,
thing?
being samasa is not actually a problem. In samasa also, you should stop at the end of a line. Being samasa is not a obstacle to stop. But when there is a conjunct, as you asked, when there is a conjunct in the previous verse, even there is a conjunct, we have to stop here. We have to stop because as you yourself explained, this K is not taken to this side. We do not consider this as a heavy syllable. We do not take this K to this side. Okay, we do not join this K with ta. So because they are not joined, we can stop here and we should stop here, like this Vimhaya Janani Sanyata. You should stop. But in other places where you consider this low ending syllable as garu, ending syllable as a heavy one, how you recite is that you join the next consonant in the beginning of the next line to this previous line. Okay, like as an example, in let's recite this verse, this line, Vimhaya Janani Sanyatak, and you stop here. Okay, so this verse is also actually, according to the general rule, this verse is also should be recited as that. Vimhaya Janani Sanyatak Riyanukang Nanu Ranjayati. But because this is an exception, we do not recite like that. But in other places where we consider the ending syllable as heavy, what we should do is we should join the first consonant of the conjunct to the previous line and recite. And we should stop after the first consonant.
I see.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Bante.
Okay. So Syali had a question.
Yeah, but so my question is in the recitation actually. As a foreigner, our recitation is completely different with like a Euro and or a Myanmar recitation. So my question is, for example, here we have the Vinyaya. So the V is followed by the conjunct consonant. So when we recite V and Nyaya, or we just recite V, we make the short E as non-E, V, Nyaya. How can we recite?
Usually, how you recite it? Usually. Previously, how did you recite it?
Generally, I pose a little bit, a very short one from the V and the near. Between there's another conjunct consonant. In that part, I just pose a little bit, just stop a little bit.
For Burmese people, the reciting consonants is difficult for them because there are not such sounds in Burmese. But is Chinese similar to that? I think you can recite that. Like we recite actually how this should be recited is that is like this wing. This nya is joined with v, and we recite like wing nyai ya. Here also this ya comes to this side and nyai we recite like nyai. So wing nyai ya. We recite the consonant sounds clearly. but in
let me
verb,
see. Bin, ne, ya. Okay.
Yes. Nye, ya. So if you can recite clearly like this, like after nye, in vinyaya, nye, you will recite a sound something like this, nye, because there is y here. So when you recite this one, sound something like this will be there, nye. Because this y should also be recited clearly. Okay.
Yes, but it's how about the ocean, the what? That
Ocean.
means we have to recite samutto.
Ocean. Sa mud do. Mud. Yes, the D should come to this side and you should try to recite it clearly. It's D. Mud. But if you have learned from a Burmese teacher, there will be a little difference because in Burma they do not recite these consonants like us, because they have a different system in their language. So the sound we hear from them is completely different. It is like mo. It is something like this. They recite this mud, M-U-D, as this mo. So it is not the system in India and Sri Lanka. We recite it clearly. We recite these consonants clearly. Okay.
Okay, Pandit. So could you please recite it again, the whole pada?
This one, Vinyaya.
Yeah.
Okay. Vinyaya lokato sanya samuddosu rasadinang. Here, pado nyeyo. You see, nyeyo chatut, you see, chatut tanso padachedo yati bhave. Is it clear?
Yes, this recitation is clear. But like sometimes like Burmese, the recitation is very fast. So sometimes when they recite, I couldn't catch what is that.
Oh.
Okay, thank you, Bandi.
Okay. So let's go to the next verse then. Yeah, we finished this one, or the next one. The types of syllabic meters. The types of syllabic meters. We know there are two types of meters, measure meters and syllabic meters. So now we are going to learn about types of syllabic meters. There are some three types of syllabic meters. We are going to learn about them. So here it is mentioned as samavutta, because in this verse only one type named as samavutta is presented in this verse. So in the next verse you will see other two types, addha samavutta and visamavutta. There are three types of syllabic meters, namely samavutta, addha samavutta and visamavutta. So we talked about this actually in Vuttodaya. There are 6 chapters, maybe you can remember. In the first chapter is the introductory chapter, and the second chapter is given for measure meters completely. Then third, fourth and fifth chapters are given for syllabic meters, 3 chapters given for syllabic meters, and then 6th chapter is another further knowledge. So third, fourth and fifth 3 chapters are given for syllabic meters. They are respectively given for samavutta, addha samavutta and visamavutta. Okay, there are 3 types of syllabic meters: samavutta, addha samavutta and visamavutta. So for those 3 types, 3 separate chapters are given in Vuttodaya. So let's read this verse. Is there any volunteer?
Okay, may I try, Bhante?
Okay.
Yes. Samang adda samang vuttang, visamang ja parang tida, sama lakkanato pada, chattaro yassa tang samang.
Okay, very good. Can you please recite the next one also? Because these two should be explained at once. Yassantimena.
Yassanti me na tutiyo, tatiye na dimo samo, tadat dasama manyantu, be na lakkana padikang.
Yes, very good. So these short lines are here to show that this is a combination. So we should, as Dr. Ryan recited, this should be recite by joining them, because this is a one word. To show that this is a combination, these short lines are shown here. So the first verse, samamad, actually this is not samang adda samang, as in the next verse. Here also this is one word, samamadda samang, but as a compound it is a one, not a compound actually, it is a what you call combination. So as a combination, this seems like a one word. This should be recited at once, but there are two words, samang and adda samang. Samang adda samang. This m is m has taken the place of niggahita, then it has become samamadda samang. So samang translated as proper name, because this sama is a proper name or the name for this type of verses. Sama vutta. Okay, as shown here, sama vutta. There is a type called sama vutta. Samang adda samang sama vutta. Visamang, vuttang. Vuttang should be joined with both of these words. Samang vuttang, adda samang vuttang. There is samavutta and adda samavutta. Vutta, as we know, stands for verses. Meaning of the vutta is verses or meters. So there are two types now, samavutta and adda samavutta. Then visamancha parang, visamancha aparang, another type. There is another type, aparang, another type. What is that? Visamancha. Visamavutta also is there. So because of that tidha, there are three types. There are three types of what? Syllabic meters. Samavutta, adda samavutta, and visamavutta. So what is samavutta? What is samavutta? What is adda samavutta? And what is visamavutta? Sama lakkanato pada chattaro yassa tang samang. Yassa, in which verse, in which meter? Pada, lines. Chattaro, four lines. Pada chattaro pada, 4 lines. Lakkanato, by their characteristics. Sama, similar. Tang, that verse is known as samang. So in a verse, if all 4 lines are same by their characteristics, all 4 lines are in the same rhythmic pattern, that verse or that meter is called as samavutta. So let's read the meaning. Here the syllabic meters are of 3 kinds. Sama, similar. Adda sama, half similar. Half similar, that is the word we use. And furthermore, the visama, dissimilar. There are 3 types. Then that what is the sama or similar meter? That which has the characteristic of the 4 lines being the same is the sama. If all 4 lines, or if the characteristics of all 4 lines are same, that is known as samavutta. So we learn about this samavutta in the 3rd chapter of Vuttodaya. Then we are going to the next verse, adda samavutta and visamavutta. What are called as adda samavutta meters or adda samavutta verses? Yassa, yassantimena, yassa antimena. Yassa in which or in which verse antimena, antima means last or final. So with the final line, antimena, with the final line, dutiyo, second line, with the final line, second line, okay, then tatiyena adimo, tatiyena adimo, with the third line, adimo, beginning line, samo, same. Meaning is that in which in a verse, fourth line is, or the final line is same with the second line, 4 and 2, 2, 4 are same, and tatiye nadimo samo, third line is same with first line, 1 and 3 are same, 4, 2 and 4 are same. Okay, first line and third line here, this is the first line and this is the third line. Okay, first 1, 2, 3, 4. So first line and third line are in the same rhythmic pattern, then third line and fourth line are in the same rhythmic pattern. So this types of verses or meters are called as adda samang, because they are halfly similar, only half is similar, 1 and 3, 2 and 4. Anyang, the other one is called anyang, other one. What is the other one? Visamavutta. Okay, anyang, other one here refers to Visamavutta. So now we are going to learn about Visamavutta. Anyang, bhinna lakkana padikang, bhinna lakkana padika. Bhinna means broken, or here meaning is given as not agreeing, not similar, broken, dissimilar. Lakkana, characteristics, pada, line, ika means which has. So which has lines of different dissimilar characteristics is called as Visamavutta. So if in a verse all four padas, all four lines are dissimilar, that verse is called as Visamavutta. That verse is called as Visamavutta. So like this, there are 3 types of meters in the syllabic meter. So read the rough meaning of this: that which has the second with the last line and the beginning line with the third line same, that is adda sama. Second with the last line are same and beginning line with the third line are same, that is called as adda sama. Here it is given as adda sama, because in Pāli there are both words are correct, adda and adda with the dot under here. Okay, adda. So adda and adda have same meanings. So adda sama or adda sama according to the Burmese books. Then but in the other which refers to Visamavutta, the line characteristics do not agree. All 4 lines do not agree with each other. So this is the 3 types of meters in syllabic meter. Are there any questions?
So Pandey,
Yes.
Yes. If the first noun and second noun are the same, and the third noun and the fourth noun are the same, we consider as the Visamavutta or not?
There is not such a type in syllabic meters. 1, 2 same, 3, 4 same. There is not such a type of meters. Okay.
But if in case
1, 2 same, 3, 4 same. Yes, I think we should. Yeah,
yes.
but actually it should be named as Adda Samavutta. It should be named as Adda Samavutta because they are halfly similar. 1 and 2 same, 3 and 4 same. Literally, it should be named as Adda Samavutta. But as you mentioned, it does not agree with this rule. According to this rule shown here, Adda Samavutta, in Adda Samavutta meters, 1, 3 and 2, 4 should be similar. So if we give that kind of a verse Adda Samavutta, it will be against this rule. Maybe we should name it with Samavutta, yes.
Okay, thank you, Bande.
Okay.
Hello, Bante.
Yes.
May I have a question?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, before asking the question, I would like to say thank you so much for your class because your class so interesting.
Okay, okay.
Yes. So I would like to ask a question about the same characteristics. So in the first and third, second and fourth, the same characteristics, but what the characteristics of them?
Sorry, what?
So what's the characteristic? The same syllable or the same matrix or the same group? So I'm not clear about that.
Same pattern. Pattern is like yes, as syllables. Pattern is related to syllables and groups and all. Like the number of syllables in a line and which group is where, which syllables are where. All these are related to the word pattern. So the pattern should be completely same. First line and the third line, syllabic pattern and the group pattern and the number of syllables in each line should be same.
Yeah. So you mean the just same all? It means the same syllable, the same matrix, the same group, and the same number?
Yes, same number, same group, same syllables.
Oh, so thank you so much. May I have the one more question about previous previous standard? Yes, yeah. So when we say about number, we remember about 4, and say about taste, we remember 6, and
yes.
So I would like to know about the taste and ocean. Why we remember 4, 6, and 5 and 7? So in the that is kind of taste and that kind of ocean, but in when we apply in the Gatha, so it's the 4, 5, 6, 8, etc. Is a what's it the implied?
Your question, as I understood, is why we do not use the names like 4, 5, 6. Why we use words like Veda, words like ocean, taste, and so on. Is that your question?
Yes. Why it is I mean that when we say about ocean, why we don't say about the 5 number and the 5 and 6 number like this? But
very good question. Actually, should be yes, it's a very good question. Why we do not use the actual name of these numbers? Like in 4, we can use Chattaro, isn't it? In 5, we can use Pancha. In 6, we can use Cha, Satta, Atta. Why we do not use their actual names? Why we use these confusing words instead of them? The reason is that when you compose these Vuttodaya prosody, if you use the word chatu or the word chattaro, it is difficult to compose the verses because in the verses, the syllables and the groups should be there in their places. So if we you have to use the word chattaro, but if you put that word in the meter in the which are presented in the next chapters, then maybe the syllables there may be extra syllables because of the long word chattaro. Okay, so when you use these kind of nouns, these kind of other names, you can use one of the suitable words which stand for the number 4. Like here you can see there are many words: Veda, Yuga, Annava. So here there are only 2 syllables. Veda, Yuga, 2 syllables. But here Annava there are 3 syllables. Here Ambudhi there are 4 syllables. So when you can only use 2 syllables to talk about, to mention about the number 4, you can use this word Veda. And where you should put 3 syllables in the meter, and you want to mention about the number 4, you can instead of using Veda or Chattaro, you can use Annava. Because if you put Chattaro, it will take 4 syllables, isn't it? So instead of using that, you can use Annava. In some other places you can use Ambudhi, other places you can use Sindhu. So this is the benefit of using these nouns, so other signs behalf of instead of numbers. Is that clear?
Yeah, it's so clear. So you mean this 4 ocean is referred to the 4 syllable?
Yeah, yes, number four actually.
Number 4. So yeah. Yes. Thank you so much, Bante.
Okay.
So another question about Yati.
Okay.
Yati.
Yes, Yati.
Yeah.
That is Yati. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So in the Gatha, the Yati, we put the end of the verse or the middle of the verse. So if the end of the verse, so in the Gatha, we have 2 Yati. Yati is a 3rd line and the 4th line.
Okay.
Samudo Rurasadinam is also in 1 Yati. And the end of the Yatibave also 1 Yati, right?
Yes, right.
So, but do we have the rules for Yati or not, Bante?
We have actually rules for Yati. So I only mentioned here about the general word break. Generally, you should break the word always after the first half of the verse. Okay, that is actually our common knowledge. We stop after the first half, no. So that is a general rule. There is always a Yati. Always there is a word break at the end of the first half. So that is a rule actually. That is a rule. You cannot join this first half and second half, and you should not recite this first line and first half and second half without stopping. You should stop after the first half or after the second line. You should always stop there. Okay. In other words, you cannot do something things like what you call combinations. You cannot join the last letter of the first half and the first letter of the second half. You cannot join, because this is not a place to do sandhi or combination, joining. You should stop here. So that is a rule. And here also, after every line, that means after the first line and third line also, you should stop, but that stop is not longer like this stop. Stop after the third line is obvious, it is apparent, but the stop after the first line is not so obvious. It's like you should stop, but it is not obvious. Like vinyaya lokato sanya samuddosu rasadina. So this stop is not obvious like this one, but you should stop. So that is another rule. So another kind of Yati is there. I will explain in the future, because it will take some time. There are some word breaks in the middle of the lines sometimes. So for that, you should learn where to put that word break. They are actually mentioned in the meters. We have to put the word break in the middle of the line, because the word break at the end of the line is actually no need to explain, no need to show, because we know that. But the word breaks at the middle of the line should be presented and explained. So we will learn in the future. Is that clear?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bante. Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, sorry, Bandi.
Yes.
I also have a question about the word break here. So
Okay.
during the word break, generally we consider the only syllable, or we have to consider moras.
In word breaks,
Yeah.
actually, it is you are asking about the meters. Inside meters, in the measure meter, in the mora meter, word break comes after number of moras, but in syllabic meter, it comes after number of syllables. It is related to the meter you are working in. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to know, when we compose of gathas, we need to consider only the word break in the syllabic part, or we have to consider the mora part.
Yes, in mora meters, you have to consider the mora part. Yes. In syllabic meters, syllabic part, syllabic number.
Okay, that means actually mora is easier than the syllabic is easier than the mora.
Syllabic is easier than the mora. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Bandi.
Okay.
Yeah. Hello, Bante.
Yes, please.
Yeah, carry on the breakword. So I also have one more question.
Okay, from which verse? Previous
Yeah.
Word break?
Yeah, word break. Yeah.
Okay.
Carry on the Salabunya's question. So I also have a question about word break. So if we break the word for smoothly pronoun, or and how can we know how to break the words in the gatha to know to outside of smoothly pronoun. So the another reason for break words, I would like to know another reason, and or we break words for what purpose?
We break in the middle of the verse. Are you asking about the word breaks in the middle of a verse, middle of a line?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it is because some lines are very long. So when a line is long, you have to stop in the middle of a line. Otherwise, you cannot recite it well. So this is the main reason for putting word breaks in the middle of the lines. There can be some other reasons, but this is the only reason actually I know. Because when a line is long, without a word break, without a stop at the middle of the line, you cannot recite the line well if the line is very, very long.
It's been the word break always the middle of the verse, right? Or sometimes.
Excuse me, Bante. May I interrupt?
Yes.
Yes. I also have a personal experience with this to a chanting. I lived in a particular monastery.
Okay.
And in the monastery, now we chant in the evening. In the evening chanting, we chant a particular set of gathas. And I also came through this problem, like, you know, after learning about this yati, I got to know like how in each of these stanzas where to stop and where to not. I mean, when I was in that monastery, when I was chanting, I had a problem with catching up the breath.
Oh, I see.
I mean,
yes, in that Namakkara part and so on, isn't it?
Yes, it was in
there are very,
Pāḷi.
Yes. So some lines, yes.
If you don't stop at the right point, you cannot chant it properly. I mean, after one point, you cannot, if you don't follow the correct way, Bante, After one
Yes.
point, you cannot pronounce the light and heavy syllables correctly.
Yes, yes, of
You
course.
mean-
You cannot follow the pattern, isn't it? Because of the
Yes,
because
Bhante.
if it is very long.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So, Seale or Bikuri, we will actually talk about that word break in the middle of the line in the future, because it actually, we will meet it again and again. Okay.
Yes, 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 yes.
Are there any questions? Are there any more questions?
Yes, Bante, may I have one question, Bante?
Okay, okay, yes.
It's about the Lokato Sanya, Bante. So
Okay.
in the book by Venerable Ananda Jyoti, that list there is not an exhaustive list, right, Bante?
It's not an exhausted list.
Is it an exhaustive list?
What is
Or
the meaning
do
of
we have any
exhausted?
other? Because for
Any
example,
other?
here, Bante, so for example, for number 4, he gave 4
Yes, yes.
instances. For number 5, there is only 1. So it's not exhaustive, right, Bante?
I think he has collected maybe all, but he also mentions here with the word used as Bhuta Sankhya in Vuttodaya may be listed here, so he does not mention that all are here. So maybe there are some other ones also which are not mentioned here.
Right. Okay, thank you, Bante.
Okay. Okay, then let's go to the next verse. The names of the syllabic meters. Can someone recite it? Is there any
So may
volunteer
I,
to recite?
may I try?
Oh, yes, yes, please try.
Okay. Padam ekara ekakara rabba yava jabi sata karam bave padehi tam jandam nana namuditam tato.
Yes, very good. Pada mekakkhararabha. We should join these two letters when reciting, because it is a sandhi. This line is here to denote that this is a sandhi or a combination. So pada mekakkhararabha yava chabbisatakkharang bhave padehitang chandang nana namoditang tato. The rough meaning is that beginning with the line that has one syllable up to the one with 26 syllables. That meter with these lines should be called by various names further. So the meaning is that in syllabic meters, you have verses or meters which have lines with one syllable. In one line, you have only one syllable. Padang ekakkara rabba. Padang ekakkara arabha. Beginning with the lines with one syllable. Beginning with the lines with one syllable. Yava chabbisa takkarang. In Burmese books, this is mentioned as akkara. Both are correct. Yava up to chabbisa takkarang. The verses which have lines with 26 syllables. In one line, there are 26 syllables. So 1 to 26. Bhave padehi tan chandang namna namo ditang tato. So meters are like this. There are meters that have one syllable in a line. There are meters that have 2 syllables in a line, 3 syllables in a line. Likewise, up to 26 syllables, there can be meters. So I don't know, there is example here for meters with one syllable in a line. Something in Burmese books, example is given like this. So me sattha. So me, like this. So me Sattha. So here, this is not actually a verse, you see, but you can consider this as a verse. You can consider this as a verse. So here in this in this verse, one line contains one syllable. So me sattha. So this can be considered as a verse or stanza or meter. So there are verses which have 2 syllables in one line, 3 syllables in one line, 4 syllables in one line, so on, up to 26 syllables in one line. Okay, so these meters are called in several various nana nama, various names, uditang called. These meters are called in various names. So these names are in Sanskrit shown here. You don't want to read this if you are not learning this analytically. Actually, you can read and learn and study these all things later. In the second time, I suggest you to just learn and just focus on Pāli prosody for the if you are learning this for the first time, because otherwise it will be confusing. So just read these list. These are the Pāli names for the meters. Utta is the Pāli name for the meter in which lines have only one syllable in each. Utta. 2 syllables Acchutta, 3 syllables Majjha. So the list continues as Patittha, Supatittha, Gayati. Okay, Gayati, Unhi, Anuttubha, Brahati, Panti, Tuttubha, Jagati, Ati Jagati, Sakkari, Ati Sakkari, Atti, Achatti, Dhuti, Atti Dhuti, Khati, Pakati, Akati, Vikati, Sankati, Atikati, and Ukkati. Those are the names given for these meters. So there can be meters after this also. Meters with 27 syllables there can be, but here they are not shown. Here shown are only 1 to 26. There are other ones also in Sanskrit prosody. Okay, is that clear? Are there any questions? So shall we wind up for today, or shall we continue? I think winding up is better because now it's 7:08. Then let's discuss.
Yes,
only I think only 3 verses are remaining. It's Dandaka 1, 2, 3. Yes, only 3 are remaining. We can continue these 3 and then go to the second chapter in the next week. Okay, then if there are no questions, we can wind up today's discussion. Buddha Sasanang Chirang Tithatu, Buddha Sasanang Chirang Tithatu, Buddha Sasanang Chirang Tithatu, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu.
Thank you.
Okay,
thank you so much, Bhante. Yeah,
okay,
sadhu,
thank you
sadhu.
all
Thank you
for
so much,
participating.
Bhante.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu,
Good
sadhu.
night.
Good night, teacher.